Welcome to Oops, I Talk Politics, the left-wing political podcast where we discuss political shit. I'm Sly.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Darryl. I like that you called it the left-wing political podcast.
Oh, we are the definitive one.
Hey, if Square Roots can call themselves the RPG podcast, we can call ourselves the left-wing political
Yeah, but
podcast.
they're a bunch of fake podcasts. We're the real ones.
Yeah, like we're the true left.
We're all that's left.
This is so much of the true left.
So this week we're going to start a weird segment. We have a name for it, really. I guess we're going to call it the Republican Hypocrisy Corner for now.
Well, no, we're going to talk about hypocrisy on both sides, right? We're not. We're definitely not.
Yeah,
We're hypocrites.
yeah.
That's the true irony.
So much for the tolerant left, right? But so we're just going to talk about how basically during Obama years, Republicans would say shit, and now during the Trump years, Republicans are now the pro-establishment assholes. So they're like, oh, you rabble-rousing Democrats, all this shit that you hear nowadays.
I get into a lot of internet arguments. I've never been called a rabble-rouser. I've been called a lot of other things.
Sometimes they still try and blame it on Democrats, though. Like, say, for instance, Obamacare. Or, I mean, Obamacare.
Vomit care.
And then you had during the Obama years when bad things happened under Obama, Democrats would blame it for Bush and stuff. You see, it's just as equal.
Both sides are just as bad, says Sly.
Yeah, I'm milquetoast bullshit centrist now. This is my coming out party.
He's become what he's hated.
Yeah. When you stare to the abyss too long, and the abyss stares back.
You become a centrist milquetoast piece of shit.
Yeah, I talk about Obama so much. I always bring up Obama. Now I am Obama.
Yeah, maybe I like Obama.
So let me be clear. We're going to talk about why we got to reach across the aisle. So yeah.
Okay, so I want to rewind like a minute to Darryl's great and totally ignored segue.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, so the topic I brought to the table is just how Trump, while he was on the campaign trail, was again and again nailing the point home. We need to repeal and replace Obamacare. It's a disaster. It's the worst piece of legislation, even though...
It's a mess. It's not winning.
Yeah, and now that they're at a point where they're finally... Paul Ryan presented a bill to replace it. It's now... There's a lot of... uncertainty as whether or not Republicans should actually pass this thing.
That's a really nice way to put it. It's, what is it, the American Health Care Act?
Yes.
And it's bad.
Yeah.
It's very bad.
There's a lot of uncertainty over whether this should pass. It's also uncertainty whether Paul Ryan even understands what insurance is. Because he says, other insurance, you shouldn't have the healthy subsidize the sick.
Yeah.
That's not... So, like...
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And also, I've seen a lot of analysts be like, it's really great for everyone except the poor and the sick and the elderly. And I'm like, if it's health insurance that's not good for sick people, it's bad.
He might be thinking about insurance in the sense that not that the healthy shouldn't subsidize the sick, but that people who live healthy lifestyles shouldn't pay more because some people live eating cheeseburgers.
Yeah, that's what he's probably getting at.
It's probably what he's getting at.
But the way insurance works is that the people who have more risk, if you have a greater pool of people, it's better than all of us paying individually, and the people who are basically the people who need the most get paid by the people who need it less.
I mean, it's the same idea that like a lot of like union workers get healthcare through their union instead of buying it on their own, because the more people you have, it brings the cost down.
But it really depends on what people you're bringing in. Like
people with pre-existing conditions?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is risk management, right? You're betting that I'm going to pay every month, and I hope I don't get hurt, but if I do, this pool will take care of me.
Yeah.
So when you let someone who's more likely to get hurt or sick, you are paying more.
So are you?
So I am in favor of this healthcare.
So yeah, Darryl, tell us some more about it.
Well, I just today, breaking news. The Congressional Budget...
Oh, we're recording this Monday, by the way.
yeah.
The Congressional Budget Office came out, they scored it, and they released a PDF, and in it they said that by 2018, under this plan, 14 million Americans will lose their health care. And then I think it's like 20 by 2020.
Okay, this might be hearsay, but I have a question. When Obamacare was coming through, the Republicans fought for the CBO to analyze it, right? And they were like, this is so inefficient and costly and everything. And then for this time, Paul Ryan was like, we'll have the budget do it. And then the budget started to, and they were like, this is bad. And then he didn't want them to do it anymore. Is that true?
I I didn't know about, Ryan was a stickler for making sure everything was budgeted.
Yeah, because they were
passed.
trying to have it voted on before the CBO report came out.
And then was it Mitch McConnell that was pushing it through?
Yeah, yeah,
That might be our liberal bubble information.
yeah.
Yeah.
But Paul Ryan was always known as the budget guy, even though he's a fucking hack,
Yeah.
libertarian piece of shit. And like this, and I don't know if he's pushing it forward, but he's not doing nearly as diligent work.
Yeah,
to
the
make
big
sure-
GOP critique of Obamacare too is that it was rushed through when they spent
Yeah.
a year and a half working on it, and it seemingly was made in a month.
Yep. And on top of this, you have Trump, who is saying that we need to repeal or replace it, and he's also made promises that everyone would be covered equally, like no one's going to lose their coverage. And now, like Political's report on this and CNN, that he's basically been saying that a smart thing to do would be to let it fail and let Obamacare take over, and then when people blame the rising premiums on Obamacare, it helps out in the 2018 elections.
So Trump thinks that Obamacare is a broken system, so he
Yeah,
wants to
yes.
leave it so he looks good because it's still Obama's fault.
Yeah. So then when people are spending much more money on premiums, then the Republicans will win the midterm elections by using that as a tool.
Yeah, which is crazy to me. The idea that now that they're in power and they have the ability to just like what was that term about getting like legislation through really fast, that they're gonna sit back still and continue to blame their failing system on Democrats.
People eat that
Yeah.
shit up though.
Which is just crazy to me that anyone could still like look at government and be like, man, those Democrats, like what have they done over these next 2 years?
The Republicans, from what I heard, that they wanted to pass. They want to have the tax cuts and stuff that if Obamacare's getting rid of.
Well, this healthcare bill also is, for like seemingly no reason, has a $16 billion tax cut for the rich that has nothing to do with it.
Seemingly no reason.
Basically, when Obamacare wasn't instituted, there was taxes increased, and there's a huge tax cut.
The cut
when
now is
Obamacare-
more than the increase was, though, right?
Yeah, it is. But even if they just get rid of the increase, it will bankrupt Obamacare over time. And so what Republicans want to do is basically bankrupt Obamacare so it can't pay for itself, so it will naturally fall apart under Republican care, and they'll blame it on Democrats for that.
Just to be the piece of shit here.
Oh, boy.
What did these people actually say this, or is this just the rumblings that Republicans want to do this? Have these people gone on record, and has Trump or Mitch McConnell been like, I want to bankrupt this so it fails and then we look good for the elections?
Do you want me to read Trump's exact words?
Yes, I do.
When did he say this, Darryl?
This is an article of Politico from today at 11:55 a.m. Republicans are putting themselves in a very bad position. I tell this to Tom Price all the time by repealing Obamacare because people aren't going to see the truly devastating effects of Obamacare. They're not going to see the devastation in 17 and 18 and 19. It'll be gone by then. Whether we do it or not, it'll be imploded off the map. I've been telling you, why don't we wait? Just let it implode and let's not take the blame, Trump said to Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price. I've been telling you that as an option. It's not an option I like, frankly, but it certainly is an option.
Yeah, fuck you, Phil.
I didn't not believe you, but I like sources, because then if we don't source our stuff, then we're no better than those savages.
He did at some point. I'm trying to find, because he says like, we have to let this healthcare pass through because I'm not like that evil to let it fail. But it was
Right.
he's just
It's
just
not.
so bad.
I'm not evil enough to want it, but I'm evil enough to let it happen and suggest it.
He goes on to complain that Obamacare looks good now because of the media, and he's Jimmy's a rustled.
To be fair to Phil, the part about them bankrupting Obamacare was rumblings. I can't find the article now, but
But Trump at least like talk, even if he's not like, this is my plan. The fact that you would even say that out loud.
Yeah, which is crazy. It'd be like Obama saying, like, we really need to stay in Iraq longer because we really want to make the Republicans look bad. Like, look how terrible this war is. Look how many people are dying.
Also, Republicans act like Obamacare is this horrible socialist nonsense. This was the GOP healthcare plan in the 90s. Like, this is what Republicans wanted in response to like the single payer system that the Clintons put forward. That just bothers me.
Well, that's why they have a shit plan now, because they really didn't have an alternative to, because Obama stole their plan.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair enough.
I mean, it isn't new too much for presidents to do, or people to do this kind of shit. Like, Darryl was giving that example. Like, imagine Obama doing that in Iraq, but like Nixon kept the Vietnam War going for elections.
Well, Nixon is an exception to a lot of
That's true.
a good president would do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like both sides can be guilty of doing that, where they're playing the long game with their elections.
No, but Trump's not a politician. He always says it like it is.
In my opinion, Trump is not Trump. Nixon brought about the fall of Western democracy. So, like, all the things that
Wait, the fall of hypocrisy?
Western democracy.
Oh,
like,
democracy.
Yeah, I heard hypocrisy too.
A lot of the stuff about corporate influence in America that we're worried about now. What happened in the 70s was a person wrote an article saying, if the corporations take over the Supreme Court, there's nothing America can do to fight back, because the Supreme Court is there for life. And Nixon was like, "That's a good article. You're now a Supreme Court member." I forget his name, but he literally was a Supreme Court member, and he literally said, "We have to make sure corporations take over the Supreme Court." And Nixon said, "You're a member of the Supreme Court now." Good
You know
job.
what else Nixon did? He fucking created the EPA to keep the hippies happy, and then he spent the rest of his presidency being like, "Fuck the EPA. They're the most un-American thing in the world. We have to do everything we can to stop them."
Do you know what else Nixon did? He broke into the Democrat headquarters. And Can you believe that?
He didn't break in.
That's true.
No, he did. He personally broke in.
To go back to the placating hippie stuff, also he extended the war on drugs because he wanted to go after hippies and other more revolutionary groups as an excuse, because he didn't give a shit marijuana. And in fact, he had studies that proved marijuana is not harmful at all.
And he wiped his ass with them and threw them at the Democrats.
And then went into Watergate and left the evidence.
See ya.
We should do a Nixon episode.
But yeah, but comparing Trump to one of the people that I believe caused the fall of Western democracy in the long run isn't a good reassuring.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, there's precedents for this. Other scumbags have done this.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he's not like the first ever, but he is comparable to the most corrupt presidents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only president that, like, it's Nixon. Come on.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm probably going to spend my health insurance list life. I'm going to spend that money not on an iPhone, but a vacation.
Oh, that whole fucking thing. That's a whole other thing.
So, vacation, you say. This is something that we probably all seen people post about, if it was Obama, Bush, or now with Trump, but presidents go on vacation. And this is something I think we don't need to say is a bad thing. Everyone needs to go on vacation, or else you go crazy.
Yeah, all work and no
But
play.
every weekend?
There is the level, the degree to which people go on vacation is what people debate about most. And right now, I was doing some digging into Trump's vacations so far. He's only been president for 7 weeks.
Oh my God. Every time somebody says it, it's so... How has it not been 10 years?
Yeah. So he's been president for 7 weeks. And I don't know about you guys, but my conservative family members and friends of family that posted for the past 8 years on things like Facebook would never let go of Obama for going golfing.
The things that stood out the most was the golfing, and one time he had a beer at a basketball game, and it was like he nuked, like, the Pentagon.
Yeah. I never stopped seeing people post about him being a lazy sack of shit. Trump himself actually said he takes more vacations than any human being I've ever seen. They used to complain about George Bush, but I understand he's already exceeded George Bush, and we're not even through the year, so he likes vacation. Let me just pull up the numbers or amount of vacation days that all presidents have taken since we've been recording this, so it's only since Clinton, really.
Now, what is defined as a vacation?
It means they're not in the White House and they're on leisure time. I mean, it's like one of those things that the president is never actually on vacation because they always have to have a line to the country, obviously, but it's like they're outside of the White House mostly.
Okay.
So,
and not like on a diplomatic trip or like for some purpose.
Right. So
Diplomatic trips and vacations.
No, like, I mean, I just want to clarify, like, if somebody's going to, it's not like a vacation if you're visiting, like, where a tragedy occurred or things like that.
Mm-hmm. So Obama, with his, the most vacation days of all time, according to Trump, took 228 days of vacation in his 8 years. Bill Clinton took 174, so he's the lowest, actually. And George Bush over 1,000 George W. Bush. Over 1,000.
Wait, Obama was 228 and Bush was over 1,000?
Bush has the most vacation days. He has more than FDR, and FDR was elected 4 times and had polio. So.
He needed some time to rest after the invading Afghanistan.
In Bush's defense, more hands off from George W. Bush was good for the country.
Yeah, so Dick Cheney could just run everything.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Fuck.
So we can look at the numbers game and say, like, holy shit, obviously Obama didn't have that many. Trump right now is only at, I mean, it's only been 7 weeks, is at every weekend so far. So we're at...
That's fucking... Jesus Christ.
It's a bit. But
does it count as vacation if you're holding staff meetings in the middle of a fucking resort?
It's a good point. But another thing that Obama was criticized for was not just the amount of days he spent golfing, it's the money he spent. In fact, there are many conservative articles I can find from 2012, 2013, 2014 where they're lambasting the Obamas because once a year they go to Hawaii, and apparently this trip cost about $3.5 million for their yearly Hawaii visit. So far, every Mar-a-Lago trip that Trump has taken, that's his resort in Florida, each weekend, the most Trump-loving sites I can find say he spends $3 million. And some more liberal ones I see at $10 million. So somewhere between $3 and $10 million per weekend trip.
But he saves a lot of money by not taking a salary, so it evens out.
Is that even true?
We don't know that because he hasn't released it. He could be taking a salary.
And here's the thing too: he owns Mar-a-Lago, right?
Yeah.
So isn't he making money off of bringing these people there?
Yes.
And that's not even to mention by having Melania and Barron live in New York, that's also spending millions and millions and millions of dollars.
$500,000 a day or a week? I have to
Yeah, for like the security, right?
Yeah,
I'm
and
reading
that's
that.
what.
And
the
we're
Mar-a-Lago
the
stuff-
ones who have to give up our iPhones because we're sick.
The Mar-a-Lago stuff is security too, mostly. But the thing is, for Trump saying, he said before he became president, I won't be a president who takes vacations. I'll never take a day off. And comparing to his tweets against Obama, he said things like, Barack Obama played golf yesterday. Now he heads to a 10-day vacation. Nice work ethic. Barack Obama is now in Hawaii. This vacation is costing taxpayers $4 million while there was 20% unemployment. He's just saying this all the time. Obama, over the course of 8 years, spent $90 million on vacations. That's quite a bit. But Trump right now, at the most conservative estimates, has spent $13 million on vacations.
And it's been 7 weeks.
It's been 7
instead
weeks.
of 8 years.
Yeah, and at some more generous estimates, he spent $40 million on vacations.
So he should pass him by the end of the summer?
Well,
Yeah.
no, because what Trump's going to do is he's going to stop taking vacations.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like getting all rested up. He's charging. He's like Goku. He's charging up.
Yeah, the hyperbolic time chamber. He's in there right now at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, we think he's only there for the weekend, but he's been there for years.
God, I want to fucking die, guys. I really want to die.
Yeah, remember when he said that when he becomes president, he's gonna learn all this stuff? That's what he's doing. He's in the hyperbolic time chamber, learning all political stuff. He's gonna come out, kick Congress's ass, pushing universal health care. He's gonna just
Build the
fucking
wall.
dominate everyone. Yeah, build the wall. Fuck Mitch McConnell. Fuck Paul Ryan. He's gonna come out and just kick their asses right now.
I said I knew more than the generals.
Unsarcastically, also fuck Mitch McConnell and fuck Paul Ryan, but for other reasons. Guys.
And it's one of these things that when we're talking about hypocrisy, it's not just Trump though. The problem is the amount of people who are so Trump supporting right now were so far up Obama's ass as a. I guess that means they liked him, but they were so against him taking vacation. They always called him a lazy piece of shit who didn't want to work. But
well, they know they're up his ass.
yeah, so now they don't. No one is saying anything about Trump. And in fact, they went to a Trump supporter and they're like, "Hey, did you know he's gone to vacation every single weekend in Florida and it's costing millions of dollars to the taxpayer? And Obama spent this much in his 8 years. What do you think about this?" And they're like, "Well, that's just not true. It can't be true that in 1 year he's going to have spent more than Obama in 8 years. So I don't believe you."
That's not true. That's impossible.
And it's one of those things that they just won't believe it or just turn off they just won't think about it.
Yeah, it's sort of like how they acted during the whole presidential race.
Yeah.
We're like, no, if Hillary wins, it was a corrupted system. But if Trump wins, everything was working as intended.
Do you think that it's just because they viewed Obama as like one of those like black people mooching off the government,
Yes,
and
I think
Trump
it
is like a
probably was.
big white successful businessman who wouldn't do that.
It could be a reason,
And
yeah.
he earns. It's probably not a conscious thing. I don't think most people look at Obama and they're like, I hate him because he's black.
Well,
But-
yeah.
We can discuss this at the end because that's ties into
Okay.
my
Okay.
topic.
All right.
So a lot of these fucking people don't just
What do you mean, these people?
these fucking people.
What do you mean, you people?
Yeah, they don't just defend Trump like this. They defend every fucking conservative politician like this. And backstory, I moved into a new congressional district a couple months ago, and I've been like reaching out to and trying to interact with my new congressman as much as
Reaching
possible.
across the aisle, you fucking
No, to tell him like, fuck you, you're doing a bad job.
Reaching across the aisle, tell him fuck you.
Okay, maybe I don't tell him fuck you, but I'm like, hey, I really wish you would vote for this healthcare bill. And his staff's just like, I'm pretty sure he supports it. And I'm like, he doesn't. Don't lie to me, please. And so one of the things that he does a lot is he makes these Facebook posts about like whatever bullshit, sometimes it's like, I met with this guy and he's a real American, like super fluff stuff. But every single time there's these like bunch of Tea Party people that are so up this Republican congressman's ass, and not in the way Phil means, in like the good way, and they like, you cannot say anything. And I've looked at a lot of these people's profiles, and they have, even still to this day, share memes about how Obama's lazy and a disgrace.
Yeah, they
And-
don't let go of the Obama stuff. The people who are the rah Trump and rah Republican Party, they still post things about Hillary and Obama constantly.
Yeah.
To be
And,
fair, like, if you hate them that much, it's real hard to let go and accept that, like, your team has won. It's just, it feels so much better to go back and keep beating up on the people you hate.
It's much like how after Obama won, a lot of people, when Obama was kind of letting us down, they was still just focused on bashing
Yeah,
Bush.
absolutely.
At least better than Bush.
But the thing is, like, they're still posting about how, like, Obama's corrupt and, like, he refused to work with, real Americans, whatever the fuck that means, and all these things. And then I'll say, because I always try to be super nice, because I'm the super milquetoast piece of shit that Sly hates. But I always try to be super respectful and nice and talk to them. And I'll be like, hey, I really wish you would hold a town hall because, like, I waited to meet with you for 4 hours and you never came out to talk to us. And, like, that would be great. And they just rip me apart.
For
And they
saying
don't-
that?
Yeah. They'll be like,
It's
it's
not
just,
even an opinion.
yeah, I'm just like, I wish you would have a town hall. And they're like, you fucking people that, you just want to hear yourself yell at him and this is all just an ego boost. And I'm like, no, I want to meet with
This
him.
is
Like,
democracy.
and they're like, there's other ways you could do that. And I'm like, how? How can I do that? Because I've gone to his office, I've called his office, I've called his DC office, and I haven't been able to talk to him. And they won't give me any answers. And these are the same people that I've scrolled through their stuff, and they supported the Tea Party ripping apart town halls in 2009, 2010. They rip apart Obama, and they're telling me you need to respect the president. And this man's a congressman. You can't tell him that you disagree with his policies.
Well, they did this during the Bush years too. Remember during the Bush years, they were like, America, love it or leave it. Or if you hate the president, you hate no support our troops or whatever.
Yeah.
Then when they lost power, they're like, no, hating the president is a good thing. It's patriotic.
I mean, the amount of people who are now saying you have to respect the president, who called our last president Obama, Ovomit,
Obozo, that's my favorite.
Obozo.
Abomination.
Yeah, all these things repeatedly. Like, there were some people who wouldn't refer to him as anything but Obama.
I know people that support Trump that called him exclusively the N-word, so they could fuck right off.
Yeah.
If I call Trump a narcissist, another N-word that's significantly less heavy.
They might think it's the same thing.
I don't know.
Also, I want to say this also goes the other way, too. I don't mean the other side of the aisle. I mean that when a Republican dares break rank with Trump, I have seen my family members that are more conservative they're like Trump lovers. Whenever any Republican says, hey, maybe Trump should release his tax returns or talk about his ties to Russia, they're like, this fucking Democrat plant, he's been waiting for 15 years to come out. He's a fucking traitor who should be executed. They turn on any Republican who dares defy Trump. They really rip them apart.
A couple of days ago, I read, and this was going to be my topic for this time, was a National Review article on how Trump's changing conservatism, and like how those people like that are trying to hold on to traditional conservative values have to change, otherwise they'll be targeted and attacked, like John McCain or Lindsey Graham or Rand Paul.
Yeah.
Well, that's why that's been happening. It's not just Trump. It's been happening since Trump is like the final phase of this boss fight in the new conservative movement. Maybe not even that. Maybe
This isn't even my final form.
Yeah. So, but like the start of the Tea Party, because the Tea Party primaried a lot of establishment Republicans. Because like, oh, you like earmarks, you like reach across the aisle making deals. Fuck you, you're out of here. We're gonna go guys who never make deals ever, who always veto anything Obama plays, and that's how we got to the situation we are now. And then that led to Trump. That idea that you have to be pure, you have to be loyal to the idea of conservatism and all this shit. And it's not even that in a true way. It's about like the select leaders they consider to be like their ideologues, like the Sarah Palins and the Trumps.
It's just what you guys were saying before about like the evidence, like how they just ignore it. Like I went to a protest a couple months ago, and there was probably about 300 to 400 anti-congressmen and maybe a dozen pro-Trump guys that were there. And I saw him make a Facebook post that was just the congressman that was just like, you know, I'm not going to let a couple haters stand in my way of respecting rights. I'm like, okay, I mean, that's some pretty big differences. And like when I went to this like office hours thing for my congressman a month ago, there was, like, I didn't talk to everybody. This is obviously anecdotally. But of the, like, 40 to 50 people that were there I talked to, of probably, like, 200 to 300, everybody there was like, I have concerns. I don't support Trump. I'm here respectfully. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But, like, I have concerns about Russia. I have concerns about the EPA. I have concerns about my healthcare. And then you go on their Facebook page and you talk to, like, and these ladies, like these old ladies and these old guys will argue with me and be like, I was there and there was just a couple jerks that were ruining it for everybody by protesting, and most people were there to support their congressman. It's like, what fucking world do you live in? Or what table were you sitting at? Because I didn't see you.
What planet are you from?
Yeah, it's all like confirmation bias stuff, where you see like the people that are there to support and you're like, you know, there are a lot of us. And you just ignore, like, a huge crowd. You're like, look at all these, like, losers or, like, George Soros plants.
Yeah, paid
he even did, our congressman also even did a fucking Facebook Live, like, town hall, where he did this Facebook Live videos. And it was like a bullshit meme that was, like, angry reacts only. Because it was just, like, mad faces the whole way. And all the comments were like, stand up to Trump against Russia. Stand up for our healthcare. And they just don't, it's... Like, and then afterwards, people were like, "Yep, just a couple haters." He even said in the video, "There was a couple haters here." Like, no, everybody hates you, guy. Like, maybe 80% of people here are here because they're concerned that you don't have any fucking ethics.
But people still vote for him.
Yeah.
Old people do.
Well, it's my first time I'm voting in this district. I'm gonna bring him down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're one vote.
I want to say I don't think this is just a Tea Party thing. Unfortunately, I think
all both sides do it, though. You're going to give this.
No, but my argument why I'm comparing it to the Tea Party is because we're seeing this wave of resistance that's very reminiscent of the Tea Party, and that was embraced, and this is so shunned.
I meant more back to Sly's point about how the Tea Party started this, and now Trump is their final form. But I think even someone like Ronald Reagan was elected as
that's a good point.
As a like charisma only, because when you really look at him, he took 309 vacation days, which is more than Obama and Clinton. He tripled the fucking deficit, did raise taxes,
and he also brought he was I think he was the one where they brought up the idea that you should never attack Republicans, should never attack other Republicans, like the new idea of republicanism, where when you pick a person to the Supreme Court, you can pick a really young person to fuck over that seat for the next couple of years. And then that led to the Newt Gingrich's, when Newt Gingrich was like, we're going to fucking try to impeach a president just because we don't like him, just purely based on that.
I mean, look at John McCain. He says things in interviews that he doesn't agree with Trump and he thinks this is problematic, but then he votes in line with the party every time.
The sad thing is for him, he votes in line with the party like an asshole, but Republicans fucking hate him for the stuff he says anyway. So it's like, who is he trying to win over? I don't understand. The Republican voters hate him because they're all like, you fucking traitor.
Maybe he exists just so like my racist aunt can be like, not all Republicans are like this. Look at John McCain.
There was some poll that I read that
hashtag not Republicans.
He enjoys the most bipartisan support. There's like 50% of Republicans and Democrats like him, and 50% hate him. Whereas opposed to like Trump, who he's at like 90 and 10.
But Phil, that's a really good point, and that goes back to my original thesis that Nixon brought about the end of.
I will say, going back a little further, you can go all the way back to someone like Andrew Johnson, and he was impeached for no fucking reason just because they didn't like him. So it's.
But wasn't he actually? But I know you brought that up before, but wasn't he actually a shitty president? Like
he was.
Like Clinton actually wanted to do what the Republicans wanted to do. Like if it wasn't for the Monica Lewinsky scandal, he would have cut entitlements and stuff like that. Like he was actually trying to do what Republicans wanted to do, but Andrew Johnson was actually just a shitty president no one liked.
Well, it's also because he was a Southerner in a house full of Northern Reconstructionists that are like, we want to fuck the South over, and he's like, we should be lenient on them. Blacks don't.
But like, that's different because like it is partisan in that he had different views, but Clinton wanted to do what Republicans wanted to do. It was just purely the fact that he's a Democrat. He should get the fuck out of there.
I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that.
He's a milquetoast liberal piece
But
of shit.
it is a bad thing when. Just because he's a Southerner in a pro Reconstructionist party, the fact that immediately made him like get kicked out. But it is that's now we've devolved to the point like even when you agree with the Republicans, you're like no, just the fact that you're the other side means you get the fuck out.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a downfall of just human nature in general. Like I don't know how you fix this because people like group identity and group politics. So
Tribalism.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if there is a way to avoid this in a democracy, really.
Well, ideally, if you were more educated,
you have a philosopher king.
It would help.
Oh, that's a good. Talking about education is a good transition to my topic.
Boom! 4 out of 4. We did it.
I didn't transition for you, Brian. Sorry.
It's okay.
Thomas Jefferson actually talked about how we need to have
how fucking hot his slaves were.
No, they talked about how Americans, have to be educated in order to make sure democracy stays healthy and stuff like that. Which is a bunch of bullshit, as I'll get into. Everyone else brought in articles, and Ryan brought his personal experience with his actual activism. I'm going to talk about a fucking cartoon. If you ever read Cyanide and Happiness, on their Twitter page, Dave McElfatrick.
Even if you don't know what Cyanide and Happiness is by name, I'm sure you've seen it on the internet. They're like the stick figures with like the big colorful shirts, and the like round heads.
So, and this is not the official account. This is one of their artists, and he just drew this with scribbles. And the comic is a guy with a blue tie and Trump, very clearly Trump with a red tie. The liberal says, "You said buy American to Congress while Ivanka wore an $18,000 dress. Ha! Logic trap." And Trump just shrugs and just continues doing stuff. And the liberal's like, "Wait, no, that was meant to stop you." And that's kind of how I feel liberals are approaching this situation, and because Trump basically disarmed liberals in general. Because we if you look at our media and stuff, like our daily shows and stuff, like we like in our onions. We love that, but we love the
liberals love the gotcha moment.
Yeah, they love the gotcha moments. They love they love the gotcha questions.
Not just liberals. I think that's everyone.
Yeah,
I think that's.
But not just the gotcha question stuff. Like we love our intellectual approaches to stuff. We love our satire, and like Trump disarms us in so many ways because our satire is useless because he's going to do what we satirize he's going to do. Like he's doing everything we joked he would do. All we really know how to do is point out contradictions, and when somebody just says, "Okay, I'm contradictory," whatever, I don't give a shit really. We really don't know how to approach it, which is why I feel Trump like completely disarmed like entire liberal media by fucking liberal media bullshit.
Because he just says no, fuck you.
Yeah, and
then he was playing four-dimensional chess the whole time.
But it's like to get to an actual article. This goes into how people think.
I like that you frame this by being like, everyone else brought in articles. I brought in a cartoon. Also this article.
But I want to back up my stuff somewhat, like in my theories. Because like, my problem with liberals at the moment is, because as usual, I hate liberals.
Especially of the neo type.
We love logic, and we've even had discussion on our Facebook group. Go check our Facebook group. Sign up.
Sign up.
Give us a like. Subscribe to our Patreons.
Yeah. But we had a discussion over convincing Trump supporters, and we had a discussion talking about it, saying I was saying we should try to appeal to our common interests and stuff like that. And people said no, we should learn more. We should appeal to logic. And my article basically shows why that is bullshit. Logic is irrelevant. Abandon your liberal ideology of logic. Logic is irrelevant, and here's why.
Because we live in a post-truth America?
But we think we live in a post-truth America, but this goes to our fundamental nature of how our minds are processing information. So this is from technological review about an article called "Importance of Feelings." A neuroscientist.
Like Ben Carson, right?
Yes, exactly. It's actually Ben Carson. He says
He's a neurosurgeon.
I know.
Logic is bad. Black people were immigrants.
yeah, but he says that he basically found out in the 90s that he did studies with people who had the emotional center of their brain damaged. And what he discovered was they could not really make good decisions. Like their reason center was damaged along with their emotional center. And
So your reason is directly tied in with your emotions.
yes,
is what you're saying.
he has a book about it called Descartes' error. Fuck, I always do that.
It's another Chimomile.
Descartes Blanche.
Descartes' error, emotion, reason, human brain. It basically talks because like ever since Descartes, we've been like logic. I think therefore I am. We have to focus on logic, and emotions
Yeah,
are
empiricism.
the emotions are a lesser level. While Antonio Damasio's research is basically about like no, this is part of our entire consciousness, our emotional centers.
But it's not. It's like humans have always striven to not
Strove.
not have.
Part of our entire biology. If we don't have an emotional center, our brains cannot make decisions. Even.
No, I'm not saying to get rid of. emotion, but
Checkmate. What about Vulcans, Sly?
That's well. I was gonna say Vulcans actually. That they are. We have them in sci-fi to be like
From Star
look,
Trek.
They are completely logical beings that are more advanced than we are.
I know, but that's why I think liberals fall into this trap because we underestimate how much of our biology is working against us. Like, and this
No, I think that's a very fair point. That I think liberals consistently underestimate the emotional reaction that people have to things.
yeah. And this goes to my second article. I said I was going to bring 0 articles, but about 2. Fuck you. So this is from youarenotsosmart.com, and it's about the backfire effect. Not the greatest source, but they do reference an actual article, and I read it. I just wanted to have an easy summary of the actual
I got you.
actual study. So it's a study from, they talk about a study from Brendan Nyhan and Jason Reifler at the University of Michigan and Georgia State University. And basically they had a study where they found out about the backfire effect, where if you show somebody information and it goes against what they believe, they will believe what they believed previously even harder. So they'll say, no, fuck your evidence, I'm going to believe even harder.
Yeah, they double down.
Double down. And this happens to both liberals and
Yes,
conservatives.
but this
Yeah.
is something that like you see even in when you guys are arguing about comics or something. You in the moment the backfire effect definitely happens, but down the line people do change their views.
They do, but this is about what I'm talking about.
I think all 4 of us have, after recording episodes of either this or Divisive Issues, been like, I thought about it more, and no, you were right.
Yeah, that's like something that's very in argument. No one concedes.
I know, but you are saying like these anecdotal evidence. I'm talking about the fact that we underestimate so much on the liberal side how much we need to appeal to emotion in order.
No,
to
I do agree
get
that
our
we
points.
totally underestimate it, but I don't think I don't think it's pointless.
Yeah, me either. Especially because
It is pointless in this context. Let me get into his points.
Okay, make your point before we yell at you.
Okay, so
Yeah, and double down on our own beliefs and ignore yours.
yeah,
Fuck, the harder we fight Sly, the more he's proven right.
Oh fuck!
so he talks about how they believe this was a part of our evolution. Like our belief system is core to how we survive. 90% of this is backed up by further neurological studies. 90% of our reasoning is subconscious. And the reason why it is that way is because our subconscious reasoning is better than our conscious reasoning. When you are consciously saying, I'm going to decide to do this, that's why I feel like I make dumber choices when I overthink things, because the things are ingrained in you, like stopping at a red light, the things you are basically brainwashed into thinking, reasoning automatically, that's better reasoning than your actual conscious reasoning. And what happens with our brains is, we have to at some point say, no, we already processed information, it's already done, we're going to use it for our subconscious reasoning now. And basically, we are fighting against our biology to fight back against that natural instinct that helps us live our everyday lives. To say, no, this backfire effect needs to stop, we have to process this information, and because this one is good information. Like, we have to fight against our natural
I
instinct.
do think we are fighting against it, but I still don't think it's pointless. Like, that's why, like,
It's pointless. It's pointless for Trump supporters and the people in the center we theoretically want to appeal to. For liberals, we can do that you talk about echo chambers, but ironically, you guys, this is a backup of the echo chamber when you're talking about how much important liberal logic is.
No, but I think still in many circumstances you're completely right. But I have still convinced people to fundamentally change their opinion when we had a real conversation about it.
Yeah, it does happen.
Again, it's difficult.
And that's a good a point. But the way you go about it, and this is all about like what methods we use, and it goes back to emotion in the long run too. I'm assuming you did this the same way because this is how arguments are really won, and this is all just theories and stuff, not backed up by anything. But when you have an argument with somebody, it's better to treat it more like a partnership where you're both trying to be friendly, trying to find out the same exact information. Like, how do we find out the truth about this thing? Rather than, you're wrong, I'm going to prove you wrong.
And that's why I think tone and how we talk to the people we disagree with is super important.
Yeah, but that ties back to why emotion is important. Like, you have to...
No, I totally agree with you. Again, I'm not disagreeing with your thesis. I'm disagreeing with your analysis of it, where you're saying it's pointless to talk to these people. But no, I'm not saying it's pointless.
I'm saying... the liberal logic trap is pointless. Maybe I extended too far. The liberal logic trap, like, haha, your logic is wrong.
Oh no, I agree with that.
You're saying like, are you saying like, I present you with this fact and now you're defeated type?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
There's a greater criticism that you can apply to that kind of mentality where it's like the YouTube videos where it's like, watches Tommy Lauren gets destroyed by a 10-year-old girl. Like, that kind of stuff is pointless. That's not going to convince anyone.
Yeah, I extended too far. It's not just all logic. It's just
I misunderstood your point. I totally agree with you.
That just relates back to like the problem with like clickbait mentality nowadays that's prevalent throughout our media. It's just so much easier to like and share stuff like that rather than get involved in more complicated conversations or read longer pieces from unbiased sources.
And it's kind of like a vicious cycle because we're more polarized, then we get more clickbaity. We get more clickbaity, and we get more polarized.
And the polarization or the clickbaitiness of people's information gathering is so sad to see because it's like one of those things that with the invention of the internet, I always was like idealizing it. Like everyone has access to so much information now, but when I see kids, when I ask them to do research, they just want to look at the link name, like the headline, and that's it. They're like, I'm not going to read like this whole 3 pages. And
For the record, though, I know that it's kind of anti-liberal to be like, oh, we're being saved by this corporate overlord, but like people that own Google and Facebook are trying to fight it by having like, instead of related more confirmation bias articles, Facebook's new like fake news stuff is gonna, it's not going to censor anything, but under it, it's going to say, like, this article has been refuted by the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, Snopes, things like that.
Yeah, and that's just going to make the people who already are like, those are fake news, just be like, this doesn't
now Facebook's in on the fake news.
Yeah, but you don't think anyone is going to be made better by that?
Some people, we have to see how this unfolds before we start judging.
Yeah, but I think the real way, because I know people who have the mind changes, like just like Ryan says, he changed other people's minds, and a lot of them say like, I changed my dad's mind. I showed him a bunch of Snopes articles, and I said, hey, I find these articles. They have all this data to back it up. And he said his dad was for like 2 years he was a massive Fox News viewer, and now he's just like, I don't know, I guess they're just more of a biased news again. And so it can happen. It depends on how you introduce it. Like if Snopes.com just registers as a Facebook recommended another fake news site by them, it's bullshit. But if it's like your brother or your sister or your friend saying, I looked into this and I found this site that might have more information.
Well, that's why my main thesis in a lot of these episodes, I mean, I don't know if it actually shows up, but in a lot of our conversations, whether we're recording or not, is we can't just shut these people out and be like, they're fucking idiots. Like, because, our opinions are not perfect either. They're better than the people that are like, nope, the Wall Street Journal's fake news, like, obviously. But we still have to be civil and not do the like, oh, here's a LA Times article, fuck you, you're wrong. But like we have to be nice and kind and talk civilly, even when they're like telling me, fuck you, you just want to yell at our congressman. You have to be like, no, not really. I suggested other different types of town halls they could have, and they were like, I didn't think about that. That's not the worst idea. And like you can get through to maybe, I don't know a percentage, but you can get through some people, not everybody. Some people are going to be assholes, are going to be assholes, are going to be assholes.
The question never is, can we appeal to these people or not? The question is what percentage.
You have asked me that question before, Sly.
But the question shouldn't be. The question shouldn't be, can we appeal to these people or not? The question should be, what percentage of people can we appeal to?
Yeah, and what's the best way to get your message across?
Yeah. Another reason why emotion is so tied to our reasoning is because our decision process naturally ties to our emotions. Like, will we be happier if we make this decision? Will the people we love be happier? So when you appeal to people about like healthcare, say, hey, you might lose your healthcare under Trump because Trump doesn't know what he's doing. Like, and now that people feel threatened personally, they care more, which we should make them care in advance, hopefully. In the future.
But you have to. I just think we have to structure our argument with an understanding of how much ethos, pathos, and logos you're leaning on.
Yeah.
And, like, you want to have logic, but you can't just be data. No one can digest it.
You can't be a Vulcan.
Yeah, you can't be a Vulcan.
Think of the kids. Think of the kids.
Yeah, so to tie up this segment, I talked about how this whole entire segment is just more logic trap bullshit. But I wanted to also suggest how use this logic trap bullshit to further the conversation.
If you want to make a point, you have to emotionally manipulate them, like I've been doing my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will die if you vote for this healthcare bill. Do you want me to die, Dad? Do you?
So, I want to join the Facebook group, as we mentioned. Also, rate, review, and more importantly, subscribe. I always say this, but apparently iTunes doesn't judge their charts based on reviews. It's only how many subscribers you have. So be like me and go log on people's computers at work and download iTunes and subscribe to our shows and then leave.
Nice.
Wow.
That's where our fans came
You
from.
want to appeal with logic and passion?
You want to rig the vote, like typical.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's all rigged. And, also Stitcher and ComradeRadio.com and all that
George
stuff.
Soros paid for this.
Yeah. I want to do some self-plugs for 2 Comrade shows. Darryl just... butt plugs.
Yeah.
Darryl just finished up his 3-episode tenure on Instant Classic, talking about Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, I did.
And it was really fun. I thought it was a delightful block of episodes.
Oh, yeah.
That game is bonkers.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But I thought it was really fun. And on Friday, I will have an episode on the Comrade feed with Vanessa from Square Roots about some fun legal cases throughout history, and I accidentally yell about how the government denies climate change, so there's that.
Cool.
But yeah, that's really fun, so you guys should check all that stuff out at ComradeRadio.com. Oh, and thank you to David on our Facebook group for suggesting that we should record closer to release day, because we wouldn't have had half of the healthcare stuff that we had if we recorded yesterday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good idea.
Yep. So thank you all for listening. I've been Descartes.
I've been an emotionless Vulcan.
I've been 1,000 days of vacation.
And I've been up Obama's butt.
In the good way or the bad way?
You decide.
Oops, end of the podcast.